You believe you are the sovereign architect of your own life, the conscious captain of a vessel navigating a sea of endless possibilities. You wake up, you choose your coffee, you choose your partner. You choose your career, and you take full credit for the trajectory of your existence. It is a beautiful, comforting, and utterly necessary lie. It's that keeps your ego from collapsing into a state of total, paralyzed existential horror. The clinical reality, the one the last realists have the stomach to face, is that your choice is a post hoc rationalization generated by a brain that had already decided what to do long before you were invited to the conversation. Today, we are going to dismantle the most sacred myth of the human experience, the concept of free will. We are going to dissect the concept of readiness potential and the lie-bit delay, and how your biology and environment turn you into a high-tech puppet who genuinely believes it pulls its own strings. To understand why you aren't in charge, we have to look at the terrifying gap between your neural activity and your conscious awareness. Back in the 1980s, neuroscientist Benjamin Libet conducted an experiment that should have fundamentally rewritten every philosophy book on the planet, but yet we chose to ignore it because the truth was too heavy to carry. He discovered that the motor cortex in your brain fires, and it prepares the action a full half-second before your conscious mind even feels the urge to move. Think about the implications of that half-second window for a moment. Your brain has already crunched the data, evaluated environmental triggers, and weighed biological imperatives, and initiated the physical movement before you even realized there was a decision to be made. You are essentially a public relations department sitting in the front office and receiving a memo about a company decision that was already finalized in the basement, and then pretending it was your idea all along. The clinical term for this is post hoc rationalization, and it is the primary function of your prefrontal cortex. Your brain is a storytelling machine. Its job isn't to give you the truth, but to provide a narrative that makes you feel like a coherent, unified agent in a chaotic world. If your brain decides to buy a sports car because of a subconscious desire for status, you're triggered by a drop in testosterone, your conscious mind won't tell you that. Instead, your mind will invent a logical story about safety ratings, fuel efficiency, and the need for a change, effectively gaslighting you into believing you made a calculated choice. This is the user interface of the self. You see icons on a screen and think you're moving files, but underneath it's all binary code and electrical pulses that you have zero control over. We are operating on a biological operating system optimized for survival on the savannah, but not for making logical choices in a 21st century consumer landscape. Your tastes in food, your attraction to specific people, and even your political leanings are largely the output of a black box of genetics, early childhood conditioning, and environmental stimuli. If I change the temperature, the CO2 level, or the amount of glucose in your bloodstream, yet your choices will shift, yet you will still defend them as being products of your free will. Psychologists have proven we are more likely to judge a criminal harshly if we are hungry. We're more likely to find someone attractive if we are standing on a shaky bridge. Your environment is constantly priming your brain, whispering commands into your subconscious. See, while your ego takes the credit for the results. This brings us to the concept of biological determinism, the idea that you are the inevitable result of everything that happened before this moment. If we knew every single variable, your DNA, mother's nutrition, every word spoken to you, and the current state of every neuron, we could predict your next choice with 100% accuracy. There is no magic in the machine. There is only a massive, complex algorithm that is far more sophisticated than anything Google has ever built. But why would nature evolve such an elaborate illusion of choice if it doesn't actually exist? The answer is social cohesion and accountability. If a society truly accepted that choice was an illusion, the entire architecture of our legal, moral, and religious systems would evaporate overnight. We have to believe in the choice so that we can justify punishment, reward, and the structure of our social hierarchies. If you aren't responsible for your success, you can't feel superior. If a criminal isn't responsible for their crime, we can't feel righteous in our anger. The illusion of free will is the glue that keeps the tribe from descending into nihilistic chaos, even if it is a biological fiction. For the last realist, realizing you aren't in control isn't a reason for despair. It is a reason for radical clinical empathy. When you understand people are just outputs of their internal and external programming, your anger toward them begins to dissolve into a form of cold, observational understanding. You stop taking things personally because you realize that the person hurting you is just a machine following its own broken code. Similarly, you stop the agonizing cycle of self-blame, realizing that your past mistakes were the only possible outcome given the variables at the time. This doesn't mean you stop trying, it means you stop the performance of the sovereign self and start focusing on the only thing that actually works: environment design. If you want to change the output of your life, you don't use willpower, which is finite and unreliable. You change the inputs. You change the people you talk to, the information you consume, and the physical space you inhabit. You treat yourself like a biological system that needs to be recalibrated, rather than a soul that needs to be disciplined. We live in an age of personal branding and self-help, where you are told you are the master of your fate. The tech companies know you don't have free will. They know exactly which triggers will force your brain to click, scroll, and consume. They are hacking your choice engine in real time while you sit there thinking you're just checking your feed. The most dangerous people are those who believe they are totally objective and in control, because they are the ones most easily manipulated by their own blind spots. To be a realist is to acknowledge that you are a passenger in a vehicle you didn't build, and traveling a road you didn't pave toward a destination you didn't choose. There is a strange, quiet power in that realization. It allows you to stop the exhausting performance of the self and start observing the machinery of the world with a clear, undistorted gaze. You become a scientist of your own existence, watching the ripples in the pond without feeling the need to pretend you created them. The world wants you to believe in the magic of choice, because it makes you a better consumer and a more compliant citizen. But the truth is that the most radical thing you can do is admit that the ghost in the machine is just a story the machine tells itself to stay sane. If this clinical dissection of your free will felt like a breach of your psychological security, then you are exactly where you need to be. You aren't a failure for not being in control. You're just a human who finally stopped falling for the PR campaign of the ego. So join us at The Last Realists, where we strip away the comforting lies of the self to find the raw biological reality beneath. Subscribe and hit the bell, because while the world tells you you can be anything, we show you why you are who you are. Click the next video to understand why your gut instinct is actually a survival glitch you should probably stop trusting. We'll see you in the next exploration.